let's record here. So yesterday you should have done number 10. Tomorrow we're going to review. We're going to be going over what you really need to know, like I do every time before the quiz, right? I try to give you the questions. In fact, I'll tell you what, how about I give you some stars today so that if you want to use the next couple days to be sure you've got that work done and shown, it will be helpful. Is that fair? So when I am looking at dividing, remember I'm going to first of all write as improper anything that I need to, right? So whole numbers, you know, you're putting over 1, and otherwise we're going to multiply the whole by the denominator plus the numerator, right? And we're keeping the denominator stays the same. So that's important to know. This is our first step here, right? Is to be sure we're writing them as improper. We're multiplying the whole by the denominator plus the numerator for our new numerator. Then our denominator stays the same, yes? And our second step is to keep, right? We keep the first fraction. When we're dividing, we're going to change division to what? Multiplication, right? Keep, change, and then we're going to take the reciprocal. We're going to say we're going to flip the second fraction. So yesterday I was noticing some people were flipping both of the fractions. Don't do that, right? Keep the first fraction, change division to multiplication, and then flip the second fraction. What is our next step? What do we do before we're ready to multiply? We're going to look for what? For common factors. This just helps us to simplify, right? Take out if there are any. So this simply means to divide the top and bottom by the same number. The reason why I write things down is because when I hear someone talking, I do a better job listening when I am actually taking notes, right? It helps me to focus on what is important. The other reason I write things down for you is because some of you aren't listening to the words that are coming out of my mouth, but your eyes are paying attention, so at least you're seeing that. The other reason I write things down for you is so that you could write them down if you so choose to. When you take notes, you're hearing it from me. You're seeing it on my paper, then you're seeing it on your paper, then you're saying it in your head. So you're really learning it like 4 times or more when you take notes, okay? That is why. All right, and I know sometimes that means my hand's tired, right? If your hand's tired at the end of the day, guess what? Keep writing. You're building muscles. Muscles in your brain, muscles in your hands, all things that are making you become better students. You're getting the work done. All right, so here we are on number 11. I'm going to do the odds on 12 and 13 with you. You'll be responsible for the evens, okay? So first of all, which equation are we using? If we have 9 sandwiches, I got to think this through. Usually I'm taking this first divided by the second, but I notice this is what I have. So I'm going to take what I have and divide it into how many sandwiches? 9. So really, These don't make sense because we don't have 1/9 anywhere. But really what? The first or the second? This is what I have. I'm always going to take what I have divided by each. So how much are going to be on each sandwich, right? So I'm actually looking at this. So let's look at our checklist. Right as improper. So the first one's okay. I have 3/4 divided by, but the second one's not okay. Hey, Landon, how am I going to write 9 as an improper fraction? Excellent. So I've done the first thing. But now I need to do step 2. Is to what? What's step 2? Keep the first fraction, so I'm going to rewrite it. Step 3 is to do what? Change division to multiplication. So that's what I'm going to do. Step 4 is to flip. 1 goes to the top, 9 goes to the bottom. Woohoo, wake up. Lots of things written down that you should be writing down. Thank you. Now, number 5 is to look for common factors. 3 and 9. What could I take out of both the 3 and the 9? 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 9 divided by 3 is 3. I think that's as simplified as it gets. Now, I notice I did not go on to step 6. I'm going to multiply the numerators. And number 7 is I'm going to multiply the denominators. There are a lot of steps here because finally, sometimes I'm going to have to simplify, right? Sometimes I have an improper fraction that I need to write a mixed number for. So I'm going to simplify as needed. I understand that that's overwhelming. That's really breaking it down step by step by step, okay? Into very little parts. So you have to know how to do each of these parts in order to complete the problem, right? So step 6 is to multiply the numerators. What do I have as my numerators? 1 and 1. What's 1 times 1? Step 7 is to multiply my denominators. 4 times 3. Excellent. Is there any way this needs to be simplified? No. So I have a 1/12 of a pound on each sandwich. Does that make sense? Yes. All right. So star or smiley number 12 for now. You're going to come back to it. Let's look at 13. All right, here we go. Here's step 1. Write as improper. Do you remember what we do? Whole number times the denominator. What's 1 times 2? 2 plus 1. 3. So I have 3 halves divided by, how do I write 6 as an improper fraction? 6 over 1. Now, remember to divide, we multiply by the reciprocal. So step 2 is to keep the first fraction, which is 3 over 2. So I'm simply rewriting it. Don't waste time with that step. Just rewrite it. This should become automatic. Step 3 is to change division to multiplication. There goes nothing. That wasn't tough. Step 4 is to flip it. So whatever was on the bottom goes to the top. Whatever was on the top goes to the bottom. Number 5 is to look for common factors. What could I take out? Good. What could I divide both 3 and 6 by? 3 becomes a 1 because 3 divided by 3 is 1. Well done. Beautiful. Now I'm simply multiplying numerators. Again, this makes it super simple. 1 times 1 is, and 2 times 2 is 4. That's my final answer there. Notice I'm showing work, right? On your quiz, you will, of course, be required, as always, to show work. All right? You need about 30 seconds before I turn the page. I'll take attendance real quick so you can do that. Bless you. No Vinny today. All right. We're okay. All right, here is page 13. We just have two more we're going to do together because you're going to do 14 in a bit. Now, let's refer back if we need to. Step 1 was to write as improper, yes? So let's do it. 6 times 8 is what? Multiplication tables if you need them. There's a whole stack on the front table. 48. 48 plus 3 is what? 51. If you need to, write it up here. 48 plus 3. 2 to make 50, one more, right? What's my denominator? 8. Look back to the original fraction because it stays the same. Right now, we're still working on division. So I'm going to keep it like this until I have both improper made. What would I do to find my second improper fraction? How'd you get 9 over what? Good. 2 times 4 plus 1. We're following the wheel. 2 times 4 plus 1, which is what? 9/4. That's beautiful. Good job. Now, my next step was to keep. I'm going to rewrite my first fraction as is. Right? Are we staying caught up? All right. Now I'm changing division to what? And when I do that, I have to flip my fraction. All right. So real quick, we know the factors of 9, right? So if we think about 3, because it's really only 3 in itself, and we follow the 3, we can see if we can divide 51 by 3. When we divide 51 by 3, our answer is what? So that's going to make this easier. Instead of 51, we have 17. I prefer that. Now, since I divided 51 by 3, I have to divide something on the bottom by 3. What's 9 divided by 3? 3. Well done. Now, what else could I do before I multiply, Avery? Beautiful. What can I take out of both of those? I could, but what else could I take out of the 4? Itself, right? So that'll be quicker. What if I take the 4 out of the 4? How many do I just have 1. 4 divided by 4 is 1. What's 8 divided by 4? 2. Great job. Just finding something you can take out, right? Had we taken out a 2, we would have had a 2 and a 4, and then we would have been like, oh, I can take out another 2, and we could have done that too, right? That's totally fine. This multiplication now is much easier, right? We know any number times 1 is itself. So even though I don't know my multiples of 17, I do know that 17 times 1 is 17. And my denominator, what's 2 times 3? 6. This is the part that's still tricky for some of us. Remember, this fraction bar literally means divided by. So I can follow my bottom number until I get close. I can only take 2 out. So that's 2 wholes. Another way I can show this, right? There's 5, 10, 15, 17. So if I take 6 out, here is 6, and here is 6. How many do I have remaining? 5. That's my new numerator, right? I'm also thinking 2 times 6 is 12, so I can find my remainder that way, which is 5. Our denominator stays the same. Beautiful. All right, so that one took every last step, 1 through 8, right? It's a lot of steps. We know how to do each part, though. That's right. All right, last one before we're really going to get to work here. All right, do your circle. Think 4 times 3. 12 plus 2. 14. Write it down. Show a fraction bar below it. New denominator. Then I'm rewriting my division sign. Do the wheel. Whole number times the denominator. What's 2 times 9? 18 plus 2. So 20 over what? What's my denominator? All right, now I need 2. Keep the first. 14 thirds. Change to what? Multiplication. And then I'm going to flip. My bottom goes to the top. My top goes to the bottom. Good, what can I take out of both a 3 and a 9? Good, I'm really taking out a 3 out of both, but 3 divided by 3 is 1. I got you. 9 divided by 3 is 3. What can I divide the 14 and the 20 by? What? They're even. Cassie's telling me 2. What's 14 divided by 2? What's 20 divided by 2? All right, so now I have 7 times 3, which is what? No. 21. What's 1 times 10? 10. How many groups of 10 can I take out of 21? 2 whole groups. 2 whole groups of 10 is 20. So how many would be remaining? 1. The denominator stays the same. Well done. All right, listen. This is what I want to hear. Absolutely nothing. If you have a question, you're going to do what? Raise your hand. I'm going to hear your pencils. It's going to be so quiet in here. I'm going to play some music. You have plenty of time to be sure you have all of this packet done today. Now, if you're behind, you might have to take it home to complete some things. All right, we're going to start and circle the following questions. Are you ready? This is important. This is important. Turn to page 1. Page 1 in your packet. Are you ready? So we're in, this is from 3-3. Please circle, star, whatever you need to do to number 1. For the next one, we're going to circle and star is number 4 on that page. The next one that we're going to circle and star is not on this page. So we're going to turn to page 2. Everybody's got page 1? All right, make sure you know how to do those. On page 2, number 10, please. Be sure you know how to do that. Showing work. The next one is number 12. Number 12. Be sure you know how to do number 12. All right. So that is all on page 2, 10 and 12. Do we have 10 and 12 marked? We know what we're doing there. All right. Next one is I think that's it for 3-3. 3-4 starts on page 5. Please turn to page 5. This is page 5. Page 5. Be sure you know how to do numero uno, number 1. Number 1. Remember, you need to know how to show work. You need to know how to simplify. It's asking for the simplest form. Okay, guys, no talking right now. I don't want anyone to miss this. The next one on page 5 also is number 4. All right, all of number 4. Again, be sure you know how to show that, how to show the work, how to simplify again, and how to interpret it, right? Going to need to know how to interpret that. That's the real life part of it. All right, I believe that's all for 3-4. So we're gonna jump to 3-5. 3-5. All the way to page 10. This is page 10. Number 1. 2 parts. Number 1 on page 10. And last one is number 3 on page 10. Number 3 on page 10. All right. So just 3 from every part, I do believe. Okay, 9 questions. This should not take you the entire hour, and it certainly should not take you more than 2 hours to complete on these quizzes, my friends. You should understand these enough to do them fairly quickly. All right, so we got number 3 on page 10 as well. That was number 1 and 3 on page 10. Oh, that wasn't 3 from each because it was only 2 from 3-5. And 2 from... That's all right. I tried to give you a question from each type that we had to do in each sections, okay? All right. So with that being said, we're finishing our packet. Be sure you're doing 12 and 13. The rest should be done so you can go back and show work for the rest of those. This packet and your quiz are going to be done on Friday. Friday. My 7th grade quiz this Friday too. Yep, I found as long as I don't have to. All right, remember we're really quietly working. If you need help, please raise your hand.